And she's like, she asked her, well, you don't have any family? She said, well, you know, my mom and my sisters, they all crazy. That was a clue for me. Because I'm like, you telling me everybody in your family is crazy? Which makes me think that you probably crazy too. People stop listening when you put a gun in front of them. Take a moment and think how regular people who are afraid of guns would react. Somebody's telling you they come to cash their check, but then they put a gun on the counter. If you work in a bank, you automatically think you're being robbed, no matter what she actually said, right? So tell me, I want you to think about it for a second. You work in a bank, somebody says, I'm coming here to cash my check, then they put a loaded gun on the counter.
I'm cashing the check. I'm cashing the check, man. I'm doing what the person with the gun says they want. Like, this is my thing. Like,
okay.
Like, what's going on, family? Welcome to the Cinema Goodness Podcast. I'm Kaheem. This is JP. What's going on, JP?
Man, I'm good. Glad to be here. Talk about a really interesting movie.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, we got a good one for y'all today. We're going to be talking about The Pickup. We're also going to be talking about White Black Panther, man. We're going to end things off with Tyler Perry's Straw. Very interesting film, man. Can't wait to get into it. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn. Let's get into the cinema goodness. Let's kick things off with this trailer reaction, Pickup, starring Eddie Murphy, Keke Palmer, and Pete Davidson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
man, I'm a huge fan of Keke Palmer. She can almost do no wrong in my mind.
Yeah, she's phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Happy anniversary. We're going to have dinner, 8 p.m. sharp. Don't be late.
I won't be late. Paga la luz.
You usually say, para la luz, pendejo. I think this place is about to close up.
Well, luckily for you, this date isn't over until your uniform is on my hotel room floor.
Holy shit. Tell me you can make it hot. God, wait! This is my 25th wedding anniversary. If I miss dinner with my wife tonight, I will be shot.
Don't do anything stupid.
Whatever gets you home to your wife in time for your special day.
Happy anniversary.
Rough luck! Get out there!
You were supposed to retire? I'm moving on to a new career.
You're pivoting this late?
Well, how old do you think I am?
Well, you're black, so you look 40, but you could be up to 90.
Hey, yo, you seeing this? Pull over and you won't get hurt.
We're gonna die.
Calm down. Remember your training.
Put your hands up! I took a 15-hour online course. What training?
Homie! Reggie Miller! Who?
Oh, that's not good.
Since you're gonna kill us, why don't you just show us who you are? Tell us who sold us out!
Yo, you better give me that money.
I'm gonna throw up. You swallow that shit. If you throw up, you a bitch.
What is this? And who is they?
Change of plans. You two are going to help me steal $60 million from the casino. Because if you don't, your wife's dead.
If you let us go, I'll let you bang my twin sister. She looks like me with long hair.
You trying to get us shot?
Russell, you don't answer your phone? Did you forget you married a Latina? I put a tracking chip in your neck. Hi, Natalie.
You fell in love this weekend?
Of course. We did butt stuff. Yes, wow.
That was awesome, dude.
I look at my leg and my foot and my ankle, my meniscus. I know I tore my whole back out, too.
What, just from that?
Are those the same underwear from Friday? Should have been a red flag.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's good. Interesting, man. Eddie Murphy, you know, he's in his bag, man. I think it's going to be funny. Pete Davidson is silly, so I think he's going to have a nice little funny role. Keke Palmer, dope. It's different. You know, she got like a different range. So, and she's growing up on screen, man. We've seen her grow up on screen, so it's dope to see, you know, how she's transitioning
definitely she's picking different roles. She's grown now. She was a child actress, so now that she's, I think, announcing herself, I'm an adult, I'm a woman, you know. She's picking trying to get out of so much drama, because she did a lot of dramatic roles. And I think she's really good, as she's hilarious. So I'm excited. I like just about everything she's been in. I haven't got a chance to see the last one. It was a comedy as well.
Yeah,
that one, it seemed kind of like almost like a girls trip type comedy. Yeah, but I didn't get a chance to see that one, so I'm gonna have to stream it. It's on streaming now.
Yeah. Pick up.
But yeah, I'm excited. Anything she's in, I'm glad to see. I love how she channels Angela Bassett and Whitney Houston at the same time, all the time.
Yeah, right.
It's hilarious.
For sure, man. This weekend, I heard that there was going to be like a white Black Panther, right? I didn't know if it was serious or not, but it's been circling the internet, so it's a real thing. They had Ryan Gosling in the T'Challa, the Black Panther uniform. Yo, I'm gonna try to find that picture and put it on here, and it looks absolutely ridiculous. Not because it's Ryan Gosling or anything, but a white Black Panther is just so contradictory to what the Black Panther is. And you know, all the comments online are about, finally there's a race swap that we can agree with. You know, all of the outlandish people feel some type of way about, you know, sometimes they take white characters and turn them into Black characters. An example of that is, I don't know if people are aware, but How to Train Your Dragon is coming out soon. And they took Astrid, who was initially a white girl, and they changed her to like a fair-skinned, a light-skinned dark girl with brown hair. So it was totally opposite of, you know, who she is and all of this stuff. So there's been a lot of controversy surrounding like Black characters taking the place of white people. Another one is Professor Snape. There's been a thing that Harry Potter is coming out with a live action. And Professor Snape was initially played by, I forget his name, but he was a white guy, but they changed him to a Black guy. So he's going to be a Black guy in the live action series that's going to be premiering soon. And the world went up when that happened, which is something I don't agree with. I don't think that they should have did that. You know, just stay kind of true to that character. But all this conversation about race swapping kind of got me thinking about, you know, when is it acceptable to do it, or when is it okay to do it, and when you should never do it. And for me, I think this is something that you should never do, because it's just contradictory. But anyway, what you think?
You know, Marvel is they're really about to take it a step further with the multiverse. And so we're going to get different variations of characters, not to replace those characters for the most part, from my understanding, but to show that there's all these other, you know, universes at the same time. So, you know, although I'm not a fan of because this was a meme out there for a while, of the whole having a white Black Panther. In the comics, there is a white wolf, but he was someone who was essentially adopted and brought in. He was kind of like T'Challa's brother. So he was, you know, part of Wakanda, and he's in the comics. So this idea of them, you know, actually having a white person in Wakanda is not new. That there's some comic basis to it, but to have a white T'Challa is completely turning everything on its head, because you know that T'Challa is an African king. I'm going to come from this race swapping thing from two different angles. So one angle that I look at it is that a lot of the IP, and that Harry Potter is a great example, but also the Lord of the Rings, and many of the fantasy genre books, that would include the A Song of Ice and Fire, okay, which became Game of Thrones. When these were written, of course they're popular now, but when they were written, their authors did not have the perspective of thinking about including people that don't look like them. So when many of these were cast, you have a cast of almost 100% white actors and actresses. Okay, so this is where, to me, when people say, hey, this is fantasy, and we're talking about a world that is 100% made up, it has dragons and, you know, magic rings and fairies and Trollocs, and you can't have a black person? Is that what you're telling me? Yeah. So that's where, for me, when we come into the reality that, hey, black people exist in the world, and there should never be, I don't care who the writer was, if that writer couldn't imagine black people in their work, if we are interpreting their work in modern time and we're putting it on screen, it does not make sense to exclude skilled actors that are black or Hispanic or Asian or whatever. Those people should not be excluded because the original writer who wrote it 40 years ago or 20 years ago or 50 years ago or whenever, in some cases 100 years ago or more, because they couldn't imagine a black person being in a role. There's no reason that when we cast it today, that adaptation should have no characters of color. Okay, so that's where, for me, swapping the race because, you know, black people were excluded makes a whole lot of sense, because we're talking about fantasy. If there can be dragons, there can definitely be a black elf. Okay, I don't care if the original book didn't mention specifically black elves or black fairies or whatever. Most definitely you should have characters from all different ranges of skin color. You should never, you know, limit just because the original source material, the author, and I'm going to say it like this, because the author was in error, because black people existed back then. Yeah. It tells you about their bias that they create an entire world with fantastical creatures and all these crazy features and environments, and they could not imagine a black person being in it. There's no reason that a modern interpretation should exclude black people as actors who are worthy actors just as good as any of those white characters. I'm a huge fan of The Lord of the Rings. The original Lord of the Rings trilogy had this problem because when it was written, the writer, Tolkien, although wonderful author, he did not characterize, he did not describe many characters, you know, with their skin color involved as far as in the good and the bad. Now, there are some authors who they will use the dark skin to describe evil characters. And again, that's just another form of bias. So that's my issue. Okay, that's where, to me, swapping the race of the actor is a no-brainer, because if the best actor for that role is someone who is black or non-white, then they should get that role. And there's no way that, I don't care who's watching this, if you believe just because that original character was white that they should always be white, that's a reflection of your bias. Because in your mind, the erasure of people of colors, if we don't exist or just came into existence in the last 20 years, is crazy. So, you know, I definitely think in those scenarios, you should put the best actor in, and you should be open to being bold enough to put those characters in. And where The Lord of the Rings made a pivot, you know, when they did Rings of Power, they did bring in black actors. So they had black elves, you know, for the first time, black dwarves in the actual streaming show. And of course, the purists hate it. You know, people who are saying you know, Tolkien didn't describe any black. I don't care. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. Black people exist, and if I can believe in Lord Sauron and his magic ring that controls men and elves and all of this, don't tell me that a black person can't be in that world. Okay, so now bring it to modern time, when we don't have that background, where we're dealing with a character that is originally a African character, in specifically T'Challa, but this has happened with some other roles. I think it becomes unnecessary, but here's where I will say, and I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Right. The author of, because this is in the comic books, there's no guarantee that this will make it to the silver screen yet. This is in the comics, but the author of the comic is Black. And because this is something that's happening in real time, we don't know what the purpose of it is. We know that that character will likely be a villain, and they are a version of T'Challa, an evil version. But they may use this as a way to make a political point about some of the things that are happening in our world right now. Right. And so, in that way, I can say that it might be acceptable. I don't think necessarily you have to take it that far, because it kind of veers off into being unnecessarily political, taking an originally African character in this instance and then making them a white character. But I will see what is the author's goal, where does it end up. So this is a comic, as it's just starting. We'll see how it all plays out. But those are my thoughts on the race swapping.
Yeah,
what about
you?
Cool.
That's cool. So one thing I want to kind of go back to is the author's intent, right? Exactly. We talk about, I mentioned How to Train Your Dragon, right? So the whole thing was, there are no Black people in Nordic culture, right? So the original
that we know of,
the original creator of How to Train Your Dragon actually is a part of this live action project, and because of that, he actually handpicked all of the characters, or all of the actors that's going to be in the live action. So people are upset about it, but we're going back to the author's intent. Like, originally, Asher wasn't Black, but when he tried to do the live action, when he did the live action, he changed his mind. He said, okay, I want to be more inclusive. I want to bring more people in to this world, this realm. And a lot of people are just upset about that. But my thing is, if the original creator is okay with it, why is everybody else upset about it, right? Because of personal bias, things like you said, right? Now go on to the Harry Potter situation, right? J.K. Rowling actually wrote a letter kind of like disputing the production of Harry Potter live action series, because she said she didn't feel that Snape was supposed to be Black. She originally wrote him the way they wrote him, and then when they did the movie, he was white. So she's against it, right? So there's a thing that I'm thinking about, like, okay, the original author, right? I feel that if the author is alive and they don't agree with the direction, I feel like you should respect that as the creator, right? Now, you could talk to them and see how they feel, and see if y'all can work out something. But if the original author is not okay with it, then, that's their original IP. I feel like you owe them that courtesy to be like, okay, we're not going to take this direction, right? But if they are okay with it, then you got the rest of the world just got to fall in line with that. Now the whole race swapping thing, I feel that, like you said, like back in the day, we wasn't even on screen, we wasn't in stories unless we were just horrible people,
a slave, a mammy,
yeah, you know what I'm saying,
drug dealer.
So now things are changing, times are changing, and I feel that it's okay to kind of put us in a more positive light, which is something that we're going to get to when we get to Straw, right? But go back to this thing, I feel that the whole race swapping thing is really about bias and people's inclination to kind of like hoard their own ideas about what something is, right? If I'm making sense, it's like, I don't believe that a person that could save the world could be Black. So any type of superhero can't be Black. Like that. That's how outlandish it seems sometimes. Like if they're not, I don't believe that this person could be in this type of situation, then I'm not going to be accepting of it. I don't care what you say. And I just think that's wrong, man. Like, it's a double-edged sword. Like,
you're talking about from the audience perspective, correct?
Yeah, from the audience perspective, right?
Okay.
Like a lot of people can't really open up to the fact that, you know, like we are Black people, you know, are in these type of circumstances, and it's creative. It's a creative outlet, but you still got to be able to open your mind up to the possibility of things changing. Now, this whole T'Challa, white Black Panther thing, I do want to see the story. I'm not too familiar with it, but I don't know if it's actually T'Challa or if it's somebody else that got, like, somebody else that's white. So I heard somebody say that it's his son that's white. He's blonde with blue eyes, but how is it, right? How is it that he's white and blonde hair, blue eyes when T'Challa is a Black man? Like that doesn't make sense to me. You know, that's the only thing. It has to make sense. Like, if it don't make sense, I can't warm up to the idea.
And let me say this, because here's where because the normies don't understand this. And if you know the term normie, normie is somebody who just watches the movie or they watch the show and they don't know anything about the background, about where it comes from. So let's say this for people who understand comics and for people who don't. The comics do all kinds of crazy stuff. Okay, if you have ever read comic books, having a character being changed into a different version of themselves is common. That is not uncommon. Okay, many characters have gone through episodes like that where they've had that kind of thing happen. Many very controversial things happen in comic books because it's a blank canvas for authors to do exactly what they want to do with essentially no barriers, no limitations. So let that be said and understood. Okay, now with the T'Challa thing, I think that part is the most insulting part for me, saying that it's T'Challa's son, and because that means T'Challa, he been chasing after the snow bunnies.
Yeah, right.
Dr.
Umar, please, man.
Right. And then let's combine that with the fact that they already gave in the MCU, actually on screen, gave him an illegitimate son. Why?
Right.
Why? You have one Black leader and you give him a son out of wedlock and then you kill him so that he's not there to raise his son. So another Black man is not raising his son.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still upset about that.
Yeah.
So combine that with this. You got one version of T'Challa who y'all have killed off, giving him a son that he will never be able to raise. And then you're bringing a new version of T'Challa who is going to be his white son, which means his mother is white. The implications, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. But like you said, we're going to have to let the author, like they say, let him cook and see where he's going with this. Because like I just said, with comics, anything can happen. It may end up being that this person is an imposter and he's not T'Challa's son and it's just a ruse to take over Wakanda, right? I mean, that's comic books do that kind of crazy stuff. So I don't put anything past comics. That's why I say we can go into it with an open mind. But I don't like the look of it. Let me put that there. Okay.
So the comic is The Marvel Knights, The World to Come. Written by Joe Quesada and Christopher Priest. So it released June 4th. So that's like a couple of days, 6 days ago or whatever. So it's supposed to be a story about T'Challa's son. We don't know if he's illegitimate or not, but he comes during the later part of T'Challa's life and challenges him for the throne. That's kind of like the synopsis that I'm kind of getting from this. And nobody knew he was white until they had the final battle. And T'Challa wanted the son or the opposing force to yield, and he never wanted to yield. And he removed the mask. The guy removed his mask, and he's a white guy with blonde hair, blue eyes, whatever, and he's revealing that he's kind of like his long lost son. That's kind of like the brief overview of kind of like what I'm seeing. In the story, it feels like you said, it's an imposter trying to come and take over the throne, which is something true to life. We know that the white people came to Africa and actually took over and pillaged and all of this stuff. So it has some ground to it. I just want to see how they kind of bring it all together, because if it's just a publicity thing, or if you're just trying to get people to have a conversation, then that's kind of where it's going to stay. It's not going to really go any further than that. So whatever.
And plus, I mean, it kind of feels like the story of Killmonger a little bit.
You're right.
I mean, I don't know. You have to be more creative. There's so much to T'Challa and Wakanda. So I don't know. Like I said, I have to see where he takes it, and where it goes, because I think the scene that you're talking about happens at the very end of the first run. So that doesn't happen until like the very last, at the very end. So we have to see the next installment of it to even see where it goes from there. So it's interesting. But on the overarching race swapping thing, I definitely, my issue is Black people can exist in fantasy. We can exist in sci-fi. And I don't care how upset these people get, because all of the fandoms have this problem. They want these characters to stay white, and they don't want to see Black actors and actresses get these opportunities. And it's, I mean, crazy enough, it isn't just white people, because if you look at what happened with the most recent Star Wars movies, that was one of the big things with Finn's character, because the Asian markets did not, even though Finn was a huge integral part, when they even marketed in those markets, they made him small on there, because they know culturally that their audiences would not, be accepting of him having that major role. I think it really put a hamper on his development, and they let that influence his character, because what they promised and kind of hinted at was much bigger. And then by the time you got to the third movie, he was completely diminished to like a side character. So, it's interesting. I say, creative people, be creative. You don't have to be unnecessarily political, but definitely do not let these fandoms make you, not put a Black actor into a role, especially when they are a phenomenal actor or actress. They deserve those opportunities. And there's so much out there. I mean, we talk about race a lot, but when you have lived the experience, you understand. There's no reason that we shouldn't have those opportunities, because there's some phenomenal actors out there. Anjana Ellis, Lovecraft Country. She played Hippolyta Freeman.
Okay, yeah.
So
the one thing about that was most of the characters was Black. And that's something I can appreciate, man. It's like we have to get out of the same type of storytelling, bro. I feel like a part of why we aren't accepted in these genres is because we don't feel comfortable telling these stories. We gotta stay in our little bubble, and if we don't get out that bubble, it's gonna be hard for anybody else to like see us there, and I feel like a part of it is.
Hold on, let me pause you for a moment. I'm gonna interrupt you. Okay. Yeah. So are you saying that you think that Black actors and actresses are limited because we aren't writing enough of this type of material? Is that what you're saying?
I believe it's a big part of it. I don't think it's solely on the audience perception. I think we don't write these stories because we feel like we gotta stick to our culture and stick to our type of like storytelling. That's why I think Sinners did so well. You know what I'm saying? Because it was grounded in something that we experience every day, but it also had a element that isn't seen in our storytelling. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with vampires and how like this stuff actually influences a different type of story. Like that's why I think Children of Blood and Bone is going to do so well, because it's taking something that is unique to our experience. We still gonna have, I'm sure, I haven't read the books, but I'm sure it's gonna be some underlying tones there that we're gonna see, like war, famine, maybe things like that. But it's also elevated because we have a different spin on it. Like it's magic, it's darkness, it's like all of these different things. And if we don't push to tell these stories, we won't get accepted in the genre. Like you have to get out of that, out of being ridiculed or fear of not being accepted or fear of not being accepted by the culture because you want to tell a different type of story. Like you can still have a ground, like you can still have the Black struggle, but you also push it with things like horror or things like fantasy and sci-fi, and like really open up to it. And a lot of our problem or our issues because we don't want to step outside of that comfort zone of storytelling, because we know what works so well. We know a crime story, no matter what it is, it's going to do pretty well, in our circle, in our community. Like it's just frustrating, man. Like we got to get out of that, bro. That love relationship thing, the family thing, like we got to get out of it. The crime drama is detrimental to our growth as creators, because we have to step out of that. We gotta do it, man. We gotta do it.
Listen, I'm going to agree with you. I think that we should be
writing off right there, but
no, you're good. You're good. I'm over here saying let him cook. Let him cook. Oh, I'm with you. I definitely feel like we do need more variety in the genres that we're writing in. But here's the thing. Two things can be true. And this is something I want us to just keep in mind. Just because we aren't seeing it, being pushed, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And and this is the important part, because this kind of goes back, because I don't want to pivot to Straw just yet. We're gonna give it its space. But back to what we were talking about in the whole, the genre and race swapping. So I think that we definitely need to write the stories. But at the same time, I feel like there's also a pressure that says, and this is outside of our community, that says, because it is this type of thing, because it is this, I can't see a Black person in this role. So they never give excellent actresses and actors that are Black the opportunity. They don't call them. They don't, because they cannot see them in the position. Doesn't mean that we never had an opportunity to have a Black X character in this fantasy. It's because the folks who wrote it, the folks who did the hiring, the people who did all of the scouting and hired all the actors, because of their limitation is why you don't see so many actors. And I say that because Viola Davis, one of the most talented and esteemed actresses, period. Point blank, put a period at the end of that sentence. And she, with all of her accolades, with all of her experience and training, Juilliard and all of this, all the depth of her ability, has been limited not by herself, but by people who had control, who, because of their own biases, could not see her in a role and would not give her that opportunity. Right. So that's why I say two things can be true. We need to write more of it, absolutely. We need to see our people writing in the sci-fi genre, in the fantasy genre. This is one of the reasons why the magical, what was it? Magical Negroes, Society of Magical Negroes was such a letdown, because the actual result of the movie ended up being
a love story between them.
Exactly. It was the most pointless waste of time, but just the title had people excited because they're like, oh wow, we're gonna get black magic, people, and get some backstory. Someone actually write a really great story in the magic and fantasy genre with black characters, and that just didn't happen. They really wasted a huge opportunity to create something that people would have actually been excited about. And instead, when you boil the movie down, it was a white savior movie. Essentially, it was the black, character to come save the day for a white person. So it ended up just being another trope. So I said all of that to say, we've got to get the people who are in control in Hollywood to see in their minds that black actors and actresses are great options for these roles and not eliminate them. Look at how much Lawrence Fishburne has done in sci-fi.
Oh, yeah, sure.
He has a great record in it. So he's played some phenomenal roles in sci-fi, space movies and things like that. And it's completely believable. But he was
Samuel Jackson too.
Yeah. But the opportunity has to be there. So I 100% I'm with you, but I always see that side too, because I know for a fact if they are discriminating against Viola Davis with her accolades and her experience, that means that they are discriminating against a whole raft of black actors and actresses. And it may be unconscious, but we have to get those people to say, hey, take these people into consideration. And let me take it a step further. The black actors and actresses need to be auditioning for those roles.
Right.
They need to be opening their minds up to, hey, I could definitely be in a sci-fi movie. Why do I have to continuously play in the same type of genre? So everybody need to get their mind together and open their brains up and understand that we all can be in every different role. Now, here's the thing. We're going to be honest. And, I believe in that. The reality is in Hollywood, it's almost binary, okay? It's black and white. We're just, in 2025, we are just getting to the point where Hollywood is starting to include more Hispanic leads. And the number of movies with Hispanic leads is still incredibly small. Let alone, think about movies that are made with an Asian lead. It is so minuscule.
Yeah.
But that just tells you that it's an issue with people because we limit ourselves, and it's people on all sides. So we all need to take a moment and make sure, especially if you're in this creative space, if you're in the space of making film or TV, that you are open to those other characters on the writing side, on the producing side, on the talent side. Most definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Great conversation. I love that. And it can be controversial.
Yeah, man. It's tough, man. It's tough because I feel like us, like as a people, we just gotta stick together on that type of stuff, man. It's hard because it's so few of us in a position of power to actually make decisions on this type of stuff. So I feel that like the people that's in the position of power should be advocating for more different, diverse types of stories. And if you stand in your little cocoon and only telling one type of story, it's going to be hard to allow other people in to do it because you're not showing that it can be done. Again, that's why I feel that Sinners did so well, because Ryan Coogler took a chance on himself and employed the people he felt did the best work in his story. And it worked out really well for him. And it just proved that if we step outside our comfort zone, we can be successful in any type of arena, telling any type of story. And, that's just what I think about that, man. We could go on another 30, 40 minutes about it, but we're not. Right?
I'll ask you this question, and we'll end it here. Is there an actor or an actress that you feel like has typecast themselves by the roles that they accept, or you believe would really excel in a fantasy or sci-fi genre, but they've never really been in that area, but you think they would really do good at it? Is there someone you can think of?
This may seem wild, but Sanaa Lathan, man, I think she could kill. I think she could kill, man. I don't think she's been.
She was in Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, she was in Alien versus Predator. I'm just saying, like, more lead type stuff. Like, she could have been in. She could have been in Sinner. She could have been in Star Wars. She could have, like, she has a unique style of acting, a unique look to where she could fit in different places. That's just one person that come off my head. Jamie Foxx did really well in what was that movie with the vampires? Day One, I think that was
Day Shift.
He did really well in that. He did really well with when he was like a superhero, not a superhero, but he had a superpower with Dominique Fishback.
Yes. Oh, that was a good movie. Did we review that?
I don't know.
I don't think we reviewed. We may need to make that a rewatch of the week. That one was good.
What's it called?
Remember that.
Project Power. You know,
Project Power. That was good.
Like those type of stories be dope, but we don't push ourselves enough, man. It just I get passionate about it. I'm just gonna say I get passionate about it because I know we can get out. I know we can kill, man. I know we can kill in these genres. We just don't. It's like, and like you said, it's not like it's not there. We just not putting it in the forefront because we in a creative comfort zone. Like, we know what works and we stick to that. And sometimes it could be discouraging and to our detriment because, like you said, a lot of people don't see us like that. And we got to start telling more stories, man. Different types of stories. But yeah, Dominique Fishback, another one. She did really well on Transformers. You know what I'm saying? So
I want to see more of her. I want to see more of her.
Sure.
She's a great actress.
For sure, man.
Let me tell you, I think her, and she would probably say this, that her wheelhouse is drama because she knows how to play a nuanced role really well. Like those passionate scenes of just dealing with interpersonal drama. That's really her wheelhouse. But I'm a firm believer that if you're a good actor and actress, you can really go in all of these different areas. As much flack as Will Smith has gotten over his more recent, lifestyle choices, that's the hallmark of his career. He has done action, he has done drama, he has done sci-fi, some good, some not so good. He's done comedy, but he's been able to, and I guess his profile, being such a popular actor, open those doors, but him being open to it is important too, because there's plenty of actors and actresses who were brought roles and they said no, and they rejected it because they didn't see themselves in it. So that's a part of it too. The Black actors and actresses have to be open to seeing themselves in those roles.
That creative comfort zone, man.
Yeah, get out of that creative comfort zone. Now, I'm 100% with you with it. I just always, I try to see things from multiple perspectives. So, because, very, very little is binary, ones and zeros. There's always some gray in there.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of gray, it speaks to my mood. My mood as I watch Straw. I was great. It was great. I was blue. I was gray. Let's move on to Straw, man.
A single mother navigates a series of unfortunate events, leading her down an unforeseen path, where she becomes embroiled in a situation she never envisioned, finding herself at the center of suspicion in an indifferent world. Straw is a 2025 American psychological crime drama, written, produced, and directed by Tyler Perry. The film stars Taraji P. Henson, Sherry Shepherd, Teyana Taylor, Sinbad, Rockman Dunbar, Ashley Versher, Mike Merrill, and Glenn Turman.
Tyler Perry, man, he's phenomenal. Like, he's a phenomenal pioneer of Black production, Black storytelling, getting people paid, you know what I'm saying, building something by himself, which is why I feel that if anybody can tell unique stories and get people involved, it will be him, because you hear so many stories about how he takes care of his actors, how he like takes stuff that he did by himself and just elevates it, man. But I feel that he's in a creative comfort zone. He's on pilot control with his storytelling because he knows what works, and he's gonna ride that, I feel, till the end. But the story, it was strong until it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It was really strong until it wasn't. And
okay.
Like Taraji,
I want you don't have to do it now, but I want you to make sure you explain, when did it stop being a strong story?
Okay. Taraji, man, she's phenomenal, bro. Like for her to take this story that was kind of like all over the place and still make it feel like this person is like really going from 0 to 100, and it feels like on screen, like, man, I'm watching her like break down in the story. Like it was just amazing for me to watch. But like I said, it was strong until it wasn't, and it stopped being strong when she started encountering these situations, and the people that was opposing her went overboard. Like it was almost comical for me. Like it stopped being relatable. It stopped being relatable because of the different type of situations and how people was like just like hammering down on her. It was just like in the dialogue. the dialogue was just crazy to me. The one that I could believe the most was the what's the person? The superintendent, not the superintendent, but the lady that was kind of like over the apartment building, right? She just seemed like a landlady. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. The landlady, whatever. She felt the most real for me because it seems like a real thing. Like I've been in the hood, like in Jersey, like people just wild like that. I get it, but we get to the point to where the cop in the street, how he like fishtail her, get out, banging on the door. I'm gonna find a way to blow your brains out. Like, oh, come on, bro. Like, this is so unrealistic to me. Like, and then the boss, man, the way the boss was talking to her, it was kind of like he had zero emotion, zero empathy. And like, I don't know too many older Black men like that. Like, just like totally void of the sister's plight. Bro, if anybody, if Taraji was a father, I could understand that. You know what I'm saying? Him just being like, nigga, you lazy, yada yada. Like that would make more sense. But this is a woman that we're talking about, bro. Like, I don't know people that just start degrading her like that. It was just too much, man. That's why I said it was strong until it wasn't. Like the whole setup with her daughter getting out the bed, taking her to school, all of that was good. She got to her job, and then it just went left, man. Like, I get it that it was one girl that was there by herself and she was working, so he was under a lot of stress. But the dialogue part, like the way he was just going in on her, it just made it so unbelievable, man. It was just too much for me, bro. I was laughing the whole time. Like every encounter that she had, I was laughing. With the cop, I was laughing. With the boss, I was laughing. The girl at the bank, when she was like, I just need my check, and she just dumping all this money out. Like, are you not listening to what this lady's saying? Like, it was crazy. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. And he was like, Tyler Perry, he was talking, I watched the interview. He was like, this story is just about a person just keep getting beat down, and she had her last straw. Like that's just, I get it, bro, but you're taking us from 0 to 1,000, and like in every encounter, like this is not realistic. What's happening? Like a cop wouldn't do this. As much as we've seen stuff like the George Floyd incident, you know what I mean? Like all of this stuff, but it's a gradual thing. It's not like I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna blow your brains out. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you out there? Come on, man. Come on, bro. It was too much for me. It was too much. Now again, I'm getting a little passionate about it, but it was good. It was really good until it wasn't, man. So I'm gonna stop talking for now, man. I'm sorry, bro. I kind of unloaded on you, bro.
You know, no, it's okay.
I just unloaded.
Let me say this about the movie. Let me say this about the movie. Tyler was definitely going for hyperbole. Okay, yeah. So, yes, it is an exaggerated. You know, the things that have happened that are happening to her are very exaggerated. Okay. But essentially he's trying to exemplify, you know, someone on their worst possible day and how every little different thing is going against them. Here's what I'm going to say. I wasn't laughing. There was a huge part of this movie that was uncomfortable for me to watch. There were parts where, and I'm being honest because I don't necessarily look away from the screen with gore, you know, or anything like that. But there were parts of this movie that I didn't want to look at the screen because I don't know. It reminded me of some things that I've been through. And accepting what you said, because yes, we're at the extreme. Every single scenario was an extreme scenario. Yes, it's unlikely that every extreme scenario happens on the same day. But where I think the movie has connected with a lot of people, because a lot of people feel like you feel. But I feel like that the movie has connected with a lot of people as well because they can see their personal struggle in Janaya's situation. They have had an abusive employer. Are all employers abusive like that? No, but I think there's a lot of evidence that there are abusive employers out there who talk to people real ugly. Are all cops hot-headed, racist, murderers? No. But, I mean, we have seen many experiences. So I think when people put it together, that's where people can see, okay, we're seeing this exaggerated situation, but it is designed to connect to people's struggle and the things that they have gone through. And that's where I feel like the movie probably did its best job, because those details are absolutely over exaggerated, but it was trying to make a point that sometimes the circumstances of life can bring you to the point where you feel like you're at your wit's end and there is no help, there is no hope, and you literally don't know how you're going to make ends meet, you know, or how you're going to get out of this situation, how you're going to see the light of day. So I would say that that's where the movie was most effective. I will give Tyler credit. There were no crazy Tyler Perry wigs.
Everybody looked great.
They seemed natural. I must give both Taraji P. Henson and Sherry Shepherd. They did a good job.
Even Tiana Taylor. And
Tiana. And I haven't watched a lot that she's been in.
Yeah.
There was a movie that she was in. I need to go back and watch. That she starred in.
1001.
Yeah, there you
she
go.
was the mom or like the stepmom or sister or something. Yeah, I watched that.
Exactly. So I must give them credit. I don't know. I think that the awards folks are a little biased against Black films or films with majority Black casts. So I don't know that she will get her recognition on it. But Taraji, she acted her tail off with
she saved the film for me, man.
She was the star. And let me say 1A, 1B, because Sherry Shepherd playing off of her, this is one thing that a lot of comedians don't realize how good they can be in dramatic roles. Another one of those typecast things. But yeah, Sherry Shepherd, she was in her bag too. She's very, very, very good. So that part of the movie, like I'm saying, I'm gonna be the yin to your yang on this because I understand how you feel. I felt the same, but I feel like there were parts of this movie that just, man, it reminded me of some stuff that I had kind of just put in the back of my head, things that, you know, happened in life. And so I think because of that and it being able to connect to something in me made me overlook some of those things. And I understood the intent of essentially saying the worst possible things that could happen, all happening in a single day. So yeah, I got you on that. And I understand it wasn't to the point, it wasn't comical for me. I didn't laugh, but I really felt for her. I was wondering why Taraji was sweaty. Now this was watching the movie. That was the one thing I was like, dang, why is she so sweaty?
She woke up
sweaty. She got ready. She ain't have no AC in her house.
She ain't had no AC
in her car.
Yeah, she's stressing all day, running back and forth. I get that. All of that was great. Like the character development was phenomenal. Like it's just I guess for me, the story arc was just too much. Like something in this vein, Pursuit of Happiness, right?
Okay.
Will Smith, how they took, even though it's based off a true story, how they took Will Smith from point A to point Z at the end, when he finally got that job, like you was Joyce with him. Like I cried in that movie. I teared up a little bit when he was in the bathroom with the son. They was beating on the door, bro. Like that's like all of that stuff, and it didn't feel like he was trying to get the audience to understand. Like you didn't have to try. You just had to watch them live out their life. Like you didn't have to force stuff down their throat, like and make them feel like, okay, this is why. This is why her boss is trash. The people at her school, you know, like even though she was like, we're gonna get to the hook, which was for me the best part. Like the hook was the best part, and that's kind of what made me kind of like, okay, I get why he was trying to do this, but I felt like he was forcing it, like throughout the movie, like he was forcing these things on the character to help solidify the end. And you didn't have to do that. You just had to take her through a day, you know, and it was just, and again, for me, it was the dialogue part too, like how people was delivering this stuff to her. Like it was just,
how sharply negative they were towards her.
Like, and just how dismissive. But I think to the strength of the story, because I'm not just totally bashing it. I don't want people to misunderstand you. I'm not totally bashing this story. There were very good parts in this movie. Like when she was sitting there talking to Sherry Shepherd about her experience, about nobody sees me, nobody cares, and all of that stuff. All of that stuff is powerful. Like you didn't have to take it to the extreme. Like all you had to do is just get her to the point to where we understood. You know what I'm saying? And I think like when you're watching Tyler Perry stuff, sometimes it could be overly exaggerated to the point to where it disconnects people sometimes. Like I felt disconnected, like Like, I wanted to be there with Taraji. Like, I wanted to be there, but the fact that when she got to the job, the boss was already down her throat, and I was like, okay, I get it. She's by the teller's by herself. Like, so it's a lot of people, but even the people in the place was going wild. Okay, all right, so this is just an angry crowd. Like, okay, I get that, right? She gets to the bank, bro. Like, even after all of the stuff that happened, she gets to the bank. The lady was like, okay, I need to see your ID. I don't have my ID, right? You know me, I'll be here all the time. All right, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Okay, that's policy. I'm getting this as an audience, like, but then she's like, I just need my check. And she bring the gun down, and the girl start freaking out. Okay, that makes sense. I just need my check. She started dumping all the money out. Like, are you not lit? Like, if she would have never said these things, if Taraji's character would have never said this stuff, it would make more sense, right? But then she said, I'm not trying to rob the bank. The two older people, the older couple was like, the guy was like, I was in Vietnam. I fought for the country. And this was the thanks I get. You robbing the bank? Are y'all not listening to this lady? Like, she said countless times, I'm not trying to rob this bank. And y'all not, and that's what I'm saying. Like, the dialogue part, JP, it was just too much.
Okay, hold on. Pause. Let's focus on that part in the movie because there's a misunderstanding that happens in the bank. We know she's been through hell. She has an exaggerated thing with the police officer. She has an exaggerated thing with her boss and the robbery. All of that has happened. Okay, let's set that to the side for when she's in the bank and she doesn't have her ID. Okay, first of all, she is near halfway out of her mind already. This is one thing I will say. I started noticing in the movie, and it was purposeful. You could see as we go throughout the day that her level of mental stability was just going down. It was becoming more and more evident that she is not as sane as we thought she was at the beginning when all this stuff started happening. And it makes sense when you get to the end, but there was a little bit of foreshadowing there because when she asked Sherry Shepherd's character to take her, would you take my daughter, while after I go to jail? And she's like, she asked her, well, you don't have any family? She said, well, my mom and my sisters, they all crazy. That was a clue for me. Because I'm like, you telling me everybody in your family is crazy? Which makes me think that you're probably crazy too. But my point that I'm making is this: people stop listening when you put a gun in front of them. Okay, so I just want you to take a moment and think how regular people who are afraid of guns would react. Somebody's telling you they come to cash their check, but then they put a gun on the counter. If you work in a bank, you automatically think you're being robbed, no matter what she actually said, right? So tell me, I want you to think about it for a second. You work in a bank, somebody says, I'm coming here to cash my check, then they put a loaded gun on the counter.
I'm cashing the check. I'm cashing the check, man. I'm doing what the person with the gun says they want. Like, this is my thing. Like,
okay.
Like, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me, but like there was multiple times, and she didn't just pull out the gun. Like, she said it over and over again. Like, you see me all the time. What's the problem? Like, just cash my check. It's $521 or $500 something. Like, I just cash my check. Ma'am, I'm sorry, I can't put the gun on the table. Cash my check. Like, okay, I'm cashing this check. I'm giving you the $520 something, man. Like, and then we gonna take it from there. Like, okay, this not just all you want now. Like, if she would have gave her that money and then she would have turned around and did some crazy stuff, then I could understand the panic. But because of this dialogue that they had and the fact that they saying that they knew each other, like, I come in here all the time, like, that's the thing for me. Like, and that's probably what he was going for, like this outlandish thing. Like, that's one of the straws, right? Like, the fact that she's been in here all the time, and I'm telling you, you know me, and I'm cashing my check, and you don't want to cash my check. Like, I could get that part if it was more grounded for me, but the girl was being all nasty, which is understandable. You go to the DMV, people nasty to you at the DMV, right? But you don't go to the DMV all the time. Like, you go once a year, every 2 years, something like that. Like, it's a difference. So there's a lot of, like you said, hyperbole, a lot of exaggeration that I felt didn't need to be there, because the story and your characters and your actors are already strong. Like, you don't have to go to 1,000. Like, Taraji could carry a story like a Will Smith in a Pursuit of Happiness situation. Like, you don't have to make it extra. Like, and I think that for me, that's kind of where I got disconnected, because again, I could understand the landlord, the landlady, right? I could kind of understand the boss. Maybe the cop is a thing too, but the fact that she goes to this bank, and to a bank that she goes all the time, and the lady said that she knew her, and all of this stuff, it was just like, you take me too far, Tyler Perry. You're doing too much to me at this point. Like, I can't find my footing, and maybe that was his point. You know, maybe that's what he was going for. Like, people can't find their footing in this story, so you can kind of, when it gets to her breaking point or whatever, you can kind of understand where she's coming from. But me watching it, it was just like, you didn't need to do that, man. The story was fly already. Like,
let me ask you this.
And the actors, man, it was just, go ahead.
Because, you know, I want to challenge you just a little bit.
Yes, go ahead.
If I have my audience, I have a baked-in audience. I know who my audience is, and I understand how to write stories that relate to them. Am I wrong to write for them? Even though I know that it may not be something that's palatable to the larger audience, but I write for my audience specifically as the writer, producer, director. Am I wrong to do that?
I don't think you're wrong at all. I don't. As a creative person, I don't think you're wrong.
Okay.
However, at a certain point, and I watched a lot of Tyler Perry interviews, right? His thing is, he don't care if you don't really like his stories, right? He knows his audience. And I said that at the beginning. He has a specific audience, and he caters to that audience. However, if we're talking about community, if we're talking about elevating the craft, if we're talking about pushing boundaries, if we're talking about getting other people involved in your world, I think there's a certain level of awareness that you have to have as an artist, as a creator, to make stories relevant enough to where if somebody that doesn't know you could kind of watch it and be like, okay, I see what he was trying to do. I may not agree with everything, right? I may not agree with it, but I understand it and I can digest it a little better. But when you take creative liberty and you just go 1,000, 3 times, 4 times in a story, it kind of loses its flavor. Like because it started off really good, man. Even with the mom getting her daughter ready for school, you know, even when she came back and was like, y'all trying to take my baby from me? Like, all of this stuff, it made sense. And then it just went left. Like, it just went overboard. And I feel that he didn't have to do that because it was strong already. Like, even when we get to the hook would have been stronger. Even if you remember at the end where everybody come crashing down, she's like, oh, it was just, even though all of this stuff is in her mind, and I get it, like, now visually.
What scene is that again?
At the end in the bank, where she thinks she thinks they coming in to like infiltrate and like do the smoke and all of that stuff.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like even that, like I do get it. Like he was trying to show like the world crashing down on her, like everything's crashing down. Like I get it, but you didn't have to do that. Like I don't feel like he had to do that. Just me personally, I don't feel like because the story was strong, man. It was strong as it was, but the way he layered everything kind of took me out of the moment. That's all I'm saying, man. Like and again, I watched another movie Tyler Perry did before that one. So I watched Duplicity. And Duplicity was just kind of like his like how he takes these women through these scenarios, man. And like I seen some of the women talking online. It's like I'm not connected to this because it's like it's trauma, like, and so a lot of his stories, I get it, is very well pointed towards his audience, and he does it well. Like even what we was talking about before, like the Tubi stuff, it's very well pointed towards a specific audience. But if we're trying to get out of that, and if we're trying to further the craft and tell unique type of stories, for me, it just wasn't it for me. Like I get everything that he was trying to do, but watching it, I just feel like some of the stuff, it didn't need to be there because you took away the power of your story, and it just made it like too much.
Well, I will say this because I understand your perspective on it. I feel like, first of all, let me say this. I am not Tyler Perry's audience. The last, I can't name for you, the last Tyler Perry movie I saw, it was probably a Madea movie, and it wasn't a recent one. So I'm not his target audience. What I will say is I won't disparage him being laser focused on his audience, because him being laser focused on his audience has brought him to where he is. And I believe within himself that his thinking, and from what I've heard in him talking about it, is essentially, you know, because the whole Madea character comes from I believe his grandmother or his auntie, one of the two. And I feel like, say again?
I think it was both. He kind of like took all of their experiences and put it kind of like in the Madea.
Into one character, yeah. So I feel like that because this is what brought him to where he is and built the empire that he has built, that he stays true to that. It's one of the reasons why he retains so much control over all of his projects, because he knows exactly what he's going after. And even though I'm not his target audience, I won't disparage him targeting his audience. What I would hope that Tyler Perry does is, because of what he has built, I'm supremely hopeful that he, through his studio, will create a space where other Black creatives who are more interested in a wider audience, who are interested in stretching themselves in genres that Black people can be a part of, will be able to take advantage of the studios that he has built to create that work. Because, and this is true of most people who are very successful, most of them are doggedly committed to whatever it is. So I can understand the fact that this type of story, this type of character has made him a billionaire. I mean, so if you have a working formula, the question is, do you change it? Do you take that risk? Or do you create an opportunity for other people? And I have come to the position on Tyler Perry that I am not his audience, and that is okay. Because if his audience is happy with those busted wigs and a lot of trauma being the subject matter, then, you know, if you like it, I love it. It's what you like. It's not for me. I will say that this movie surprised me because of the way that it connected to things that I have experienced, in my personal life. So, it is, and it doesn't mean that I feel like the movie is great. It's just because when I tell you that uncomfortableness that I had, like where I wanted to turn away from the screen, I don't get that very often. It was very jarring for me. Yeah. But I think that if I could feel that way, a lot of other people could feel that way, especially those that are part of his core audience. So it's, to each their own. I'm not going to disparage him. What I will say the most that I would love to see Tyler Perry do is create the opportunities for other people. If he's going to stay in this lane and stick to what brought him to becoming a billionaire with a B, that's cool. Keep making that, but use your studio to create opportunities for other Black creators and actors and actresses to elevate in other areas so that we can all see that Black people can do all of these different things. We don't have to stick with, what kind of sometimes amounts to like trauma porn, because it's just obsessively all about Black trauma. And I'm with you on that. I feel like we can be much greater than that. I want to see us. I'm tired of seeing Black drug dealers. Yeah, that's something we've done. It's been done. I want to see more of that. I'm not going to disparage Tyler because it's the bread aisle. Tyler Perry has his spot. It's charted out. He sticks in that. I would hope that over time, maybe he will branch out, but I'm not going to disparage him because let me tell you something. If I establish and build a company and become a billionaire with a B, he ain't able to tell me nothing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Because if I have a working form, that's one of the things that I get incensed with my employer, because I see them fix things that are not broken, and it's the hugest waste of time. So. I'm trying to see both sides, because it doesn't make sense to fix what ain't broken. And I feel like Tyler feels like it's not broken because it made him who he is. So he sticks with that. Now, he has done a few things like the Cross series and stuff like that. So, maybe we'll see more from him, but I won't disparage him. Make your money, Tyler, and make opportunities.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. I'm with you, and I don't want people to misunderstand me. I'm not bashing Tyler Perry at all. Like as a pioneer, I'm not bashing him. I'm just talking about strictly like the storytelling. I just think that this story could have been stronger had it not been so exaggerated. Because there's a lot of high points, like the fact that when she comes in there, when Janiyah Taraji P. Henson comes in the bank, and and Sherry kind of sees that blinking thing, she thinks it's a bomb. Like, and that makes sense. Like, oh, she got a bomb in her backpack. They never mention it, but the fear is there, the tension is there, all of that stuff. And then the police in turn thinks that is a bomb because of what Sherry experienced. Like, that's a very strong story plot. Like. There's something like we are in real danger. Not only does she have a gun, but there's a bomb. Like, and then we come to find out that it's not a bomb. It's actually, her daughter's science project. We all know this. Yeah, we know this. We know this as the audience because we already seen that encounter. But the fact that Sherry thinks that it's a bomb, like, elevates the panic in the room and the tension and all of that stuff. All of that stuff was very well done. The cop, the captain, played by Rockman Dunbar. Rockman Dunbar. Like, he was phenomenal. Like, he was the only brother in the movie that had some sense, man. He was just like even kill. Like Tiana Taylor's partner was kind of like he was
a non-factor. He was a non-factor. He could have not been there, and we would not have even noticed it.
And he was wrong. Like, he was just wrong about what was going on. Tiana Taylor was on point. Sinbad.
Pause. Hold on. Now, let me pitch my tent right here.
Go ahead.
This is where I felt like the movie was the most unrealistic. Okay. When they see that Janiyah shot her boss.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Tiana Taylor's character gave her the benefit of the doubt, knowing that she had in fact murdered. There was no question, because I was thinking, oh, maybe there won't be any video cameras, so they won't find out that she actually murdered her boss. They find out pretty quick. She did kill her boss. She was in the middle of a robbery. Doesn't look like she planned it. It happened spontaneously. But the deference that Tiana Taylor's character gave her is wholly unrealistic. I don't know any law enforcement that would have treated her in that way, including black officers.
Yeah. Her discernment was on point.
Say again?
I said her discernment was on point.
Oh, yeah. Her discernment. And see, I wish they had pulled that thread a little bit more, because she said it was maybe like a little small line, but she said she's been through this kind of thing. So she understands, having been raised by a single mother, some of the struggles that they went through. So that's how she connected to her and saw her as a person, and didn't immediately just treat her as the criminal that she saw on the video screen. For me, I have not seen I've not had any experiences. I have not seen anything that would indicate police would treat someone that they saw just murder a person in cold blood in that way, even if they had a connection to them. I felt like that part was unrealistic, especially how hard Tiana Taylor's character was fighting for her, not really knowing her whole situation. They did go get some breadcrumbs. She had just been put out of her house, just fired from her job, trying to get her paychecks. I get that. I guess I don't give the police a lot of credit, just because I don't think that they would have treated her that way. I think they would have gone hard on her, just like when that white guy came in. I think even the black characters would have been just as hard going after her as any other police officer. So that part was, I would say, one of the most unrealistic parts. Even though that other stuff was very exaggerated, that police response to her,
that's shaky for you.
That's where I was like, police don't do this. If police see you shoot somebody, they're treating you like a criminal from here on out. There's no more benefit of the doubt. It might be a misunderstanding. You don't know what she went through. She was really fighting for her in an unrealistic way. So I'm with you.
At the end. At the end, she got out. She said, "Man, fuck this! I'm going to go get her. Go get out and start walking to the door."
Yeah.
Okay.
But so Tyler he's going after his audience because they love that. Okay. Yeah. So for people, especially single mothers who've been through some crap in their life, they connected with that. For me, that was a disconnect. But let's talk about the twist. Okay. What did you think?
For me, I know I've been talking. I feel like I've been talking down on the movie, but for me, Taraji and the twist at the end saved it for me. Like it kind of made it feel palatable. Like it made me feel like I could take it. Like, okay, she's been through a lot, but this is something I don't understand.
Okay.
So the twist is that her daughter died the previous night, right? And she had a seizure and she died, right? So when we open the movie, she's next to her daughter. She takes her daughter to school. She bathes her daughter, not necessarily in that order, but she has an encounter with her daughter and takes her to school, right? And then she goes through the whole day, crappy day. She accused of robbing the bank and all of that stuff. And it wasn't until the very end, her mother calls her and was like, what's going on? Why I'm hearing that you robbing the bank. Mom, I'm not robbing the bank. I'm just trying to get my check so I can give the baby her $40. And then we found out that the baby died, right? And they kind of replay her whole day where she thought her daughter was, she wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
And all of this stuff made me feel like, okay, I see the point, right? But for me, my question is, what was the straw, right? What was the straw? Was it her not getting her check so she could give her daughter the $40, or was it the fact that her daughter died? Like that is like that for me is kind of like the question. Like, when was it? Like, was it all of this stuff that kind of led up to that? Like, I just had like the question, like when was the breaking point, right? But the fact that he reinforces that her daughter died makes it again feel like, okay, I understand the story now. I feel like I understand it, right? I still feel like there was a lot of exaggerated points that didn't need to be there, but I feel like with her daughter dying, it kind of solidified, okay, I see why she's going left like this. But I just feel that it all could have been done, and that point would have been just as powerful if it wasn't so exaggerated. But again, Taraji, Sherry, Tiana, they all did a phenomenal job, and that twist at the end was kind of like, okay, I'm with you. I'm with you, Tyler. I get it. I get what you're trying to do, man.
Well, let me make you think even a little deeper, because this was the question that I had. You asked the question of what was the straw. I believe the straw was her daughter dying.
Okay.
And in fact, you have to reevaluate all of the events that we saw. And that even includes her interaction with the police officer. So when they reveal that when the police officer gets the mom, turns her phone back on, which she refused to do before, gets her mom to call her, and it's revealed that the daughter died the night before. And then that shakes her to reality, and then they go back. They show us from the very beginning, we saw the hospital scene from the beginning, and it looked like she was carrying her daughter in her arms. But we come to find out she was just carrying her daughter's blanket because she had died.
Right.
You have to now evaluate every single thing that happened in the movie. Right. Because we saw the movie from Janaya's perspective. So it seemed like everything was exaggerated, but you're actually seeing it through the lens of a person who has had a mental breakdown. And this goes back to my question about why does she look the way she's so sweaty, and she didn't look all there even when she was all getting to work. Before all of this happened, it looked like she was a little off. And so as the movie is going and you see her mental state is deteriorating, she sounds to be getting a little bit crazier and crazier and crazier as the movie, she's becoming more unhinged. And she even is childlike in some moments, the way she's kind of talking and thinking this through. So you can tell that her mental state is messed up. So I feel like we have to evaluate how exaggerated those scenes actually were, because we were seeing them through the eyes of someone who had a mental breakdown.
A mental breakdown.
We're seeing how she perceived these events.
Okay. So are we seeing it through her lens, or are we?
I think so.
Just see, and I think that's a kind of fault in the story, because it's not really clarified at the end what was real, what was not. You know what I'm saying?
True.
We don't really know if the landlady was really acting this way, if the boss was really acting this way, or if the cop was really acting this way. Until we do know that the cop was acting this way, because when Tiana Taylor kind of approaches the guy, he was like, oh no, when he approaches when the female cop approaches Tiana Taylor and talking to her about what happened, right? She kind of verifies what the cop was saying to her. You know what I'm saying? We kind of get reinforced that this is something that actually happened, you know, because of how the female cop kind of like
how she reacted to it.
Yeah, how she put her stamp on it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, did it happen? Did it not? We really don't know. All we can go off of kind of what we saw, and I think that's the fault in the story, because we really
I agree with you on that.
We don't have we can't walk away with a definite kind of like thing, like, okay, none of this stuff happened or it did, like, and that's kind of where it kind of loses me. Like,
I agree with you that is absolutely a fault in the story. In actuality, you could make an argument that we don't know which version of the end of the story actually happened. Do we know that she wasn't actually shot and killed and they didn't raid the bank? Or did she walk out peacefully? Do we know which one of those actually happened? Based on what you saw on the screen.
I can say for sure, well, I would say 85%. I can say the fact that she got arrested at the end is what really happened, because of how that last piece of dialogue between her and Sherry Shepherd was like, I lost my baby. And she says, I know. They told me earlier today. Like, okay, we know that happened, right? And she says, I'm gonna walk out with you. I'm gonna be there right with you. Like, this is moments in the final part of the story that we as audience members, me personally, like, hang my hat on. Like, okay, she did have this encounter with this lady, and she was there for her and help her get to where, you know, she's ultimately like arrested and all of that stuff, whatever. So I could say with 85% certainty that the ending of the story is what really happens, right? And
85%, okay.
To your point, that is kind of like reinforcing her character. Like, we really don't know the ending. We're really not sure what happened. But I think that's a fault in the story, because, or maybe it's not a fault. Maybe that's what he was going for. Maybe he wants the audience to kind of feel like uneasy walking away, not really sure about her outcome, you know? So, you know, it's just one of those stories that it has potential. It is strong, but certain points in the story just made, for me, it takes me out of it. Even at the end, when you kind of say, okay, she's crazy because of this. Like, something happened to her daughter and she snaps, right? I get all of that. However, you don't bring the audience to some type of closure. You know, even with her getting arrested, all of this stuff happened. Like, there's nothing to hang my hat on. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I'm saying.
And I think that we were meant to be having some of these questions, because I feel like some of these choices I feel like these are choices. I think they're purposeful. So sometimes, you know, folks want to make you talk. They want to open a conversation about how it could end, how, you know, because I felt that way. Originally, I was like, okay, well, it comes to a positive ending, and although we find out her daughter had died, at least she doesn't get raided and killed. Then when I started thinking about the fact that, well, wait a minute, we've been looking at this whole perspective, this whole thing we've been watching from her perspective. And I feel like that we have to go back and question some of that stuff we saw in the beginning, just to really understand what might have been real and what might not have been real. But that's up to the audience. So what would you rate the film? Because I feel like we're gonna be far from here.
We're gonna be far. I don't know. We may not.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to Taraji, and I'm gonna go to the twist at the end. Even with my issues, I'm gonna go 6.
Oh, well, that's what I was gonna say. 6.
Okay, look at that.
See?
Look at that. I promise y'all, I'm not bashing the movie. I'm not bashing it. It's just I have certain problems with the story I felt could have been stronger. And I'm looking at the camera so people can understand me. I hit my heart. I love Tyler Perry. I love what he does, man. I love Taraji. I love it's just as a writer and as a creator, I found some issues in the story that I wasn't too happy with. And that's all I'm saying. And we still ended up, after all of that stuff I said, we still ended up with the same grade. Yeah, man.
Hey, you can't discount those performances. Performances, and I would say Tiana a little bit less so because I'm maybe not as experienced with her, and because of my issue with her character's decisions. But barring how it was written, she did very well. But to me, Taraji and Sherry Shepherd, phenomenal. Yeah, phenomenal.
Man. Sure.
If you're watching this, we want y'all's opinions. I want y'all to be honest and tell us what you felt. How did this movie connect with you? Did it turn you off completely? How did you feel when you were watching it? Did you need to turn away like I felt like I wanted to turn away?
Thanks for watching. If you want any reviews, if you have any questions, if you want any commentary, if you got any thoughts about podcasts, put it in the description, put it in the comment section. We'll be sure to check it out. Until next time, you have a light that is out of this world. Let it shine to be the richness that this world deserves. Much love, family. Be rich.
Peace.